Hi YouTubers, welcome back to Vintage Fashion Hat Chat. I hope you're all safe and well and dealing appropriately with this latest curveball that Omicron has thrown us. Hopefully this whole thing will be over soon. Anyway, if you're new to the channel, I'm Norma Shephard, director of the Mobile Millinery Museum and the author of 5 books on vintage fashion, including 1,000 hats. The Mobile Millinery Museum has been presenting vintage fashion costume exhibits on a traveling basis for the last 20 years, or actually a little more, particularly with our signature show, our retrospective millinery fashion show. We haven't been able to do that throughout the pandemic, so that's one of the reasons that I'm bringing these videos to you. Now, if you watched the last video, or it might have even been the one before that, I'm not certain, I brought you a beautiful beaded red satin cloche from the 1920s, a gorgeous piece. It's a recent acquisition. And when I acquired that, I also acquired the hat that I'm going to show you today. It's a fabulous piece, completely different than the 1920s cloche. But similarly, it is, it's just an exquisite, exceptional piece with exceptional embellishment, although a different type of embellishment. And it's the only hat I'm going to bring you today. But when when you have the right hat, one hat is enough. But in addition, because we're looking at recent acquisitions, I also want to show you the latest additions to my Doorland vintage jewelry collection. Doorland, if you're unfamiliar, is a very high quality costume jewelry maker. They were in business from 1957 to 2006. Originally a Canadian company, very high quality, beautiful costume jewelry. In fact, the early pieces were hand set with Austrian crystal and Japanese pearls. And by, I think it was, 1979, they acquired the molds from the estate of Marcel Boucher. And so that elevated the quality again and the appearance of their pieces. They went on to partner with Neenah. That was in 1984. And that's when you begin to see labels in their, in their marketing, in their boxes that indicate Doorland, but Paris. And I will tell you that if you're looking for Doorland vintage, you will find different maker's marks. The ones that are in capital letters are the earlier pieces, and the more recent pieces are, it's spelled out, there's an apostrophe always, D''ORLAN, but the more recent pieces, the labels are in lowercase letters. So I will show you those recent pieces that I acquired, and then we'll get on to the hat. But I just think this is a really sweet piece, and it may have originally had matching earrings. I do not have them, nor have I seen them for sale as yet. This piece was purchased from Etsy. So happy to be able to search my favorites online. Oh, it looks like I'm wearing a hat veil. This is cool. So the gold on this is just in great shape. Not quite a choker, but it's not long either. And this one, the hallmark is stamped on the back of the disc, closest to the clasp. And that's a really pretty piece. And they made several of this type with, small differences. This type of necklace, and I imagine earring sets. So maybe we'll be able to complete that set at some point. Now, I imagine that one is either from the 60s or the 70s. This next one is definitely 80s, and such an iconic look from that period. I love the red and cream, of course, and again with the trademark gold as well. Nice thick chain. This one's a bit longer, and this one is labeled on the hang tag. Again, capital letters. But that's a really great piece. Now I do have a few pins of Doorland. This is my little croc, and he's a nice size, as you can see. Don't know how clear that's coming in. And then the little doggy with the crystals. This is an earlier piece. I think that piece I included in an article that's coming up in Canadian Antiques and Vintage Magazine, the January-February issue. I've done an article on vintage costume jewelry, particularly Canadian, but not solely Canadian, that the value of looking for those as opposed to a lot of the jewelry today that is obviously not the same quality, and so much of it that has components of cadmium, of course, which is a toxin. So that article is coming up, and I'll talk about that again once it's in print. This one has a very small label, and I'm not sure if this is Doorland. I need to take a closer look, but it has that appearance. And there's one more. This is this Neenah brooch. Now they did make jewelry for Neenah when they partnered with them, and it has that same it's just not coming in at the coloration that I would like, but it does have that same gold color. A lovely pin. It's unmarked, but this was given to me by a jewelry sales person who worked for Neenah, and I think it's a more recent piece. Obviously, of course, since they only partnered with Neenah since 1984. So that's it on that, and let's go on to the hat. This hat is fabulous. So great. We're looking at something pre-1960s. It has a cardstock hang tag. Now look at this. This is a wide brim hat. Oh my gosh, and in this neutral beige color, you could wear this with anything. This is the crown of ruched velvet, and these wonderful little flowers in the deep brown, and then there are some in satin in the beige, and then of course these wonderful ostrich feather fronds. Now that takes a lot of work. Those fronds have to be clipped from the feather, dyed, glued together into usually little segments, not too long, and then applied to the hat. The hat itself has a fairly high crown, satin brim, and the label is Madame G. Laforest. That's a Montreal label, handmade original, 2008 Frontenac East in Montreal. And what's remarkable about this hat is that it still has its original price tag, which is stapled to the inner band, $34.95, with tax of $2.10, for a total of $37.05. So if we have a mathematician who could go back and knew the percentage of tax that was charged over the years, we might know exactly what date this hat was. There's the little price tag, and there is the label. So this one remained unsold, but I'm sure even in the 60s that would have been a very pricey hat. And I'm pretty sure it's pre-1960s. So, but let's just have a look. Oh my gosh, it's just, I think it's great. It'd be great. Well, you'd have to be careful. If you wore this to a wedding, you might take attention away from the bride. And what have we here? We have, seems like, you know, there's always some conservation to be done. It looks like there's a little flower trying to escape. And, you know, think about how old this hat is. It's still in remarkable condition. Just love it. So again, you only need one hat if it's the right hat. Gorgeous. And this, of course, could be worn any season. Just a beautiful, beautiful piece. So once again, I hope you're all safe and well. Please look after yourselves as we get into this very busy, very special holiday season. And I will continue to post Mondays and Thursdays, bringing you more vintage millinery, etc. In the meantime, have a hatty day.